They're a great bunch of girls. They're very talented, and the biggest thing missing this year is the motivation.
Why is that?
That's because they have no competition. These girls have worked so hard since they were 7 years old. Most of these girls have been together, and they have always had some competition. They've sat on the edge of the seat wondering if they're first, second, third, fourth. This year, they're asking why aren't we intermediate so we have competition? And they work so hard for these advanced skills. It's very sad, very sad.
Well, I've been doing cheering since I was 7 when I was on the Mighty Mites, and I've basically had competition ever since then. Until last year when I became a junior midget, we didn't have competition. And now this year it's my last year and I still don't. And like my older sister, when she used to do cheering, they would be up against like 20 teams, and like if you placed in the top 10 it would be like amazing, and now it's like first or like you break down, which kind of stinks.
And like everybody's been like saying to us like, oh, like you guys don't have competition, you're getting a free ride to Disney, like cheering's like not even a sport and all that stuff. And like we work like really hard to get where we are, and like it's basically like I don't even know, like we're just going there to show them, like we don't have anything to look forward to. We see all of these teams at like nationals sitting on the mats, like they're all praying and they're crying. Like we don't get that feeling. I haven't had that feeling in like 2 years, almost 3.
So as a coach, to be in this like gym every night watching the girls practice so hard, it really it's so sad to see them going down to Florida with no competition. Like there's nothing they can really win if they don't have competition.
Last year when we were on the junior midgets and we had no one to go against, they promised the younger teams that they would never have to go through that, because we went out on the floor in Florida and just didn't give anything because we knew we already won.
And it's just not fair to be like dedicated to this program 7 years, 4 days a week, and like
come out with a
your
national
7th
title
year
that you didn't even deserve.
You could go out on the mat and hit not one stunt, but just be handed the title as national
champions.
National champion. It just doesn't make sense.
And now this year we have 3 teams going down to Florida that automatically win. Like they've known for months that they already won.
We've been working so hard. Some of us 7 years, and for me, for example, 6 years. And like we're not here 4 nights a week every week, August to December, to work for nothing. We have no motivation. Like usually they'll be like, all right, so in Disney we usually have more competition from like different states and stuff, and like usually it's like, okay, you have to go against this team and you have to like work very hard if you want to beat them, because usually some teams from different states are usually better than in Massachusetts. And like I've had this year and last year, I've been on junior midget for 2 years and we had no competition throughout the whole way, all 5 competitions. And now I'm having people coming up to me and like saying, oh, not only Burlington, but Pop Warner's going down the drain, going down the tube. I'm like, you know what? I don't know what I can do. Like,
and we come to the gym every night for 4 nights a week, and we used to go to football games too. And all of us go to our tumbling class on Wednesday for an hour, and like we stay up late at night doing our homework after practice. And we just come to practice every night, and we try to work really hard just so we can go down to Florida and show everyone what a really advanced team looks like.
When I had regionals, we would be sitting in the stands waiting and hoping to place, and when we ever found out we got second or first and got to go to Florida, we would go home and have to book our flights. Florida was in 2 weeks. You'd have 2 weeks to book your flights. It would be this crazy excitement, and you'd go to nationals and you'd have 50 teams, and if you even got in the top 5, it would be so impressive. It was so amazing to get announced, and it's just not like that now.
What was it like when you were announced?
My gosh, we would just be sitting on the mat. We'd all be holding hands and praying, and if I was a 3-time national champion, and they'd say second place, and you're just sitting there hoping for first, and you're not sure, and as soon as they say your name, I'm like gonna cry thinking about it. The excitement is like, you can't even explain it, because you beat all those teams to get there. To get first place is like, it was amazing. Oh my God, it never got old.
I've only been cheering for 2 years, but last year I got a free ride to Florida for nationals, and I had competition. but I only have one team to compete against. This year I have a full ride to Florida, and I don't have any competition. And just to think about like all the work that we've put in from August to December, 4 nights a week, it's just kind of like it's not a waste, but it just isn't the same thrill.
Last year I was on B team also, and we didn't have competition last year either. And going into this season, I figured oh yeah, this is gonna be a blast. We're gonna have competition, and it's gonna be good fun because we have something to strive for every night. And it turns out we didn't. And it's not you're happy to be cheering, but it's not the same feeling as when you're on the mat and everyone's crying and everything because you just won. It's you're just oh yeah, we won. Again, it's really nothing to strive for, and it's really sad that we work our butts off for this.
When we started to come into the gym in August, we were promised competition by our coaches, and when the night that we found out that we didn't have competition was probably the most emotional night that I've been cheering at. There were a lot of tears, and people just kind of broke down. We had to try to convince ourselves that we had Grand to look forward to, but just to push ourselves to keep trying as hard as we could, it was very hard. And all the tumbling classes that we go to, the stunt clinics that we've had, and just kind of giving up most of our lives. We go home from school, do our homework, and then go cheering every night.
Coming to practice every night, knowing that we're not going to have competition at our last national competition ever is very hard because a lot of times we tend to lose focus and lose our determination that we had. And, our coaches always used to be able to say, that team's practicing harder than you, they're throwing skills twice as hard as you, and that would make you want to push yourself to do better and better, and you would want to beat them so much. But now we don't have that, so we don't really have a limit that we're trying to exceed with our skills. Growing up in Burlington, we were always told that to be the best, you had to beat the best. And it's going to be really hard doing that this year. We're still going to strive for Grand, but it's just going to be harder to stay focused and exceed and excel and do better and better.
And everybody's been saying to us you guys don't have competition, you're getting a free ride to Disney, cheering's not even a sport and all that stuff. And we work really hard to get where we are, and it's basically I don't even know, we're just going there to show them. We don't have anything to look forward to. We see all of these teams at nationals sitting on the mats, they're all praying and they're crying. We don't get that feeling. I haven't had that feeling in 2 years, almost 3.
It's been really difficult to keep our energy up at practice because we know that when we're at competition, it's we're just there to be there.
It's we have no motivation. It's not you guys have to be better than this team or that team. It's just go out there and do it, I guess.
People are always saying how lucky we are, but it's actually one of the worst feelings when people say that you have a free trip to Florida, because it's just...
And when you say free...
a free...
No, I know what you mean, but is it really free?
It's so much money. For our parents to take us down to Florida and to tell us, I'm spending however much money, I can't even really imagine, just for me to watch you for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I feel terrible actually when they're giving up all this time, taking work off and giving up all the money just to go watch me for that long. It's one thing if we have competition and we're gonna come home with a national title against 7 teams, but we're not having that title. We're just ourselves.
And what do you think it's gonna feel like when they call your name a champion, but you already know that?
I think it's going to be very weird because every year we've had, 3 or 4 teams to compete against. So my heart was always pounding very hard listening to the announcer. Every second that he would wait to announce the names, I wanted to just yell at him to shout it out because I was really screaming on the inside and the outside, waiting for my name to be called. And then that second that you hear your team got first place, it's such an amazing feeling because you know that all the blood, all of the hard work, every injury that you worked through was all worth it throughout the entire season.
Next up,
So these are girls who have some of them 4 more years, 3 more years in the program, and we may not have a program. It's either stop teaching the advanced skills or bring them down to, a novice level? Very sad.
Right.